Debate over expiring long-term unemployment benefits is getting very personal on Capitol Hill tonight. Republican lawmakers trying to scale back the 99 weeks of paid unemployment currently offered to the nation's jobless got a sharp rebuke from leading Democrats, with one calling the GOP proposal, quote, heartless, mindless, and reckless. Big government loves to tug at heartstrings, but does it do any good for creating jobs? Here now to discuss are my freedom fighters, Fox business anchor and my colleague, Shibani Joshi, Carolyn Heldman, Occidental College political science professor, and Benjamin Powell, Suffolk University economics professor and Independent Institute senior fellow. All right, Carolyn, I'm going to start with you. I suppose you want to extend the unemployment from 99 weeks to 200 weeks, right?
Judge, I want to go even further than that. I would love to take advantage of this opportunity with so many unemployed individuals, most of whom lack college degrees because that's where the unemployment is most concentrated, and give them stipended job training in math, science, and healthcare, because we have a mismatch. So I would like to go beyond just extending unemployment benefits to starting a national program that really addresses our issues with this mismatch, as well as takes care of our unemployed. We took care of the banks. Why aren't we taking care of citizens?
Why is that wrong? Why is that crazy? Why will that make things worse? With deference and respect to Professor Heldman.
We want people to get reemployed. The best way to start that process is to not pay them not to work. But second, on this retraining program, we've had this for people who get displaced from international trade flows.
Right.
The evidence on that afterwards is they don't get a job any faster or at any higher wages than the same people who don't get the training. So the programs just don't work when the government does.
Isn't the evidence also, Shibani, that the longer you pay people to stay on unemployment, the longer it takes them to find a new job?
On the sidelines, 99 weeks, it is a good gig. 2 years almost, you get to sit on the sidelines. Anyone who is ambitious does not want to collect those 99 weeks. Anyone who's well trained will go out there and be able to get a job. The challenge is that we are incenting and motivating people to sit on the sidelines and say, hey, don't take the job that will actually pay the bills. Sit there, wait for something better to show up.
Carolyn, where in the Constitution is the federal government authorized to pay people not to work?
The general welfare of the American public. And again, we did bail out the banks with this unconstitutional move by the Fed and,
right,
and $700 billion in TARP funds. And this whole notion that this is an individual problem, it's not. We have 16 million unemployed, and that is a conservative estimate. That means it's a systemic problem. So our government needs to address the system that is creating
I don't want to
it.
get into the weeds, but if the general welfare clause of the Constitution let Congress do whatever it wanted, then we don't have a limited government, and the specific delegations to Congress and the Constitution would be meaningless.
Well, that's how everybody seems to want to interpret it when they just want to spend other people's money on programs like this. But I think the key point is here. You can talk about all the people who are unemployed, Carolyn, but more of them are going to continue to be unemployed when you pay them to be unemployed. We got to stop that process.
And the unemployment has not headed in the right
individual.
direction. We haven't seen any major substantive improvement in unemployment thanks to these unemployment benefits getting extended. There's no cause and effect that you can draw.
Go ahead, Carolyn. We have a few seconds. Why is that not true?
The cause and effect. That's not true, because the unemployment rates overall have been going down, and we have been extending this. Now, granted, we need better data on cause and effect, but to say it's had no effect, I think it is to mischaracterize
We got your argument. We're going to switch gears. A bill moving through Congress meant to curb rampant insider trading among our nation's lawmakers will actually make this ambiguous crime easier for them to commit. The Stock Act gives members of Congress what we as American citizens have long been denied: clear and precise guidelines for what is and what is not considered insider trading by the Securities and Exchange Commission. Meaning, Congress can continue to act without fear of prosecution while we go on living under the SEC's random and selective enforcement of insider trading. No wonder at least 140 lawmakers support the Stock Act. No wonder so many members of Congress leave far wealthier than they arrive, and they make a government salary, Ben Powell.
Yeah, they have access to information that'll let them profit, but more importantly, they can rig the rules of the game that are bad for the general welfare in order for them to profit in their portfolios. What we really want is bigger restrictions on Congress and less restrictions on other people for
Carolyn, I suspect that we are on the same page on this one. Why should the laws be written so that if you or I used insider trading that we learned about from a corporate source, we would be prosecuted? But when Congress uses insider trading about laws that they themselves are going to write or change or modify or nullify, they can make all the money they can.
Yep, that's a great point that you, Judge, and Ben just made, that they actually get to affect the outcome. And this is watered-down legislation, make no doubt about it. We're talking about there's no limitation. It allows 90 days for you to report on trades. It should be 48 hours. There's no provision for a blind trust. You can still tell your friends and family. There's no prohibition on that. I mean, this is watered-down reform.
You covered the Rajaratnam case, one of the biggest insider trading prosecutions in modern times. How the heck does he feel when a member of Congress like Denny Hastert, who'd been a high school wrestling coach his whole life, left Congress 20 years later with $10 million in the bank?
12% better per year. That's the better rate of return that Congress people make over and above what the stock markets are seeing. It's hypocritical. That's what insider traders who have been convicted of insider trading, even everyday Americans, I think, are saying of Congress people. This is hypocritical. If you can't dish it, don't dish it if you can't take it. They're sitting here getting hard-lined with hedge funds, with private equity firms saying you can't act in this way, but they themselves are falling guilty to the same rules.
We have about 30 seconds left. Why should we accept this? I thought part of the Gingrich Revolution in the early 90s was that all the laws would apply to everybody.
We shouldn't accept this, but this is typical of what you get out of the criminal class in Washington, D.C. They make laws that take money away from the rest of us and give themselves special privileges to make wealth in ways that we can't.
The criminal class, that would be members of Congress.
Yes.
Carolyn Heldman, Shabani Joshi, Ben Powell, thanks for joining us. Great group.